Hello everyone, and welcome back to another tier list. Hey Sunny. Yeah. Welcome back to another tier list. Today we're gonna be doing Star Wars. Movies, TV shows, and a special that I think everyone read that read. Far away. So, yeah. So, let's get this started. Gonna go over the ranks. Starting off as the best of the best is Master. So this is normally like my God tier, is now Master. Great is Knight. Good is Padawan. Meh is now Youngling. Bad is now Sith. No is normally where I always put worse than bad. And then 2 hours of Jar Jar would be more fun. Yeah, I think that's self-explanatory. It's just 2 hours of Jar Jar would be more fun than this. Getting right into it. Starting off with the movies mostly, and then going into the shows. Mostly because there's a lot more to say, kind of, with some of the shows. And some of the movies, I mean, we just all know where some of these movies are just going to land. Starting with the first Star Wars. Yeah, I don't think it should be a shock to anyone that I'm putting the first Star Wars up. I absolutely love Star Wars, and when it comes down to, like, you know, I'm really in the mood for Star Wars, what's a movie that I could just put on and be like, yes? It's the first one. A mix of just kind of everything that's great about Star Wars, since it's the first one. It basically piloted this entire franchise. Some mystical elements to it, the fighting, the sacrificing characters. just it kind of just has it all in there. Probably also one of the first female badass characters that I was ever introduced to as well, Leia. Yeah, I mean, she, in like the first couple of minutes of the movie, is shooting frickin' stormtroopers. So, like, and then throughout the entire movie, she's just, like, saving these guys' butts the entire time. Yeah, all the actors I really like as well, throughout, like, all of them. So many people I know of just watch these movies. Yeah, just the first movie is just almost masterfully done. If you ever look into the stuff that they cut out of it, though, let's just say it's a good reason why some of these cut out. Like, I think there's like a 12-minute scene of Binks. And if you don't know who Binks is, it's the guy that Luke is like friends with. You see him for like maybe 5 minutes. He had more of a character at some point. Oh, hey, Treetop Queen. Yeah, Binks had a bit more of a like character at some point. But like, it was 12 minutes of him talking about politics. And boy, was it like, oh, it just dragged through like, sand. There's also the fact that like it's been remastered, re-edited. I kind of like some of them. Some of the like new stuff they put in it. I get how it's also kind of bad. Like, they threw in a lot of junk they didn't need, but, yeah. Hello, Castle of Dragons. Nice to see you here, too. But, yeah. Yeah, what else is there to say? It's the first movie. I think we all know why it's in God tier. Or Master tier. Going into Empire Strikes Back. This is one of those, this is one of those movies that when people talk about sequels, they're like, you want to know how you do it right? Empire Strikes Back. You want all the kind of fun stuff that was in the first one? Okay. It's in Empire Strikes Back, but then it gets darker, more mysterious, and holy crap, someone is someone's father. This is also when we really got to see Vader being like at peak Vader. In the first one, he's kind of there. He's a looming threat. He kills Ben. We know he's dangerous. But our heroes basically only face him really in a dogfight. Other than that, he's more of a threat to Ben and Leia, kind of in the background. Strikes Back, Vader is in full force, up front, kicking butt. This is when Vader is at like peak Vader. Oh, I normally hear people when they do like Vader lines, it's almost always from the second movie. Besides Vader being like really coming into his own in this movie, the twist as well really just like throws you out there. In the first movie, we kind of touch on the fact that, you know, Luke's an orphan, he's living with his aunt and uncle, and Obi-Wan knew who his father was, and, you know, blah, 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 we know the story. And then we get to this one where we flip it on its head, and it's like, no, the dude you thought you could trust lied to you, man. I'm your daddy. And of course, just like the one reaction just everyone has. No! That's impossible. It's one of my favorite twists ever. Yeah, this is one of those movies as well, how you like do a twist. How you like subvert expectations. Like in the first movie, the heroes always got away. Now we're here in the second movie, and we end it with our main hero having his hand chopped off, one of our secondary heroes carted away by a bounty hunter, and Leia being the only one that is not damaged. Which just proves how much of a badass Leia is. Oh, and Chewbacca too. I don't want to harp on Chewbacca or anything. I love Chewbacca. But he's not my favorite. Out of the four, he's not. He honestly doesn't have a lot of character. Besides, but I do love Chewie. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about the second one besides just, you know, this is one of those movies that you want to study when you do a sequel. And someone in this lineup did not frickin' study. Now we go to the third one, and this is the first one. I think I might get some hates. I think the third one is great. But I don't think it's as good as the first two. It's really the one that just kind of wraps everything up. I love how it ends. I love the story in it. But But okay, traumatic. Okay, trauma damage. Maybe Leia got some like trauma from it. But in the third one, you don't really see that one. You do not see that woman like traumatized. You see her in two states: her normal badassery and reason why I still like women. Anyways, yeah. So it's still a great one, but it didn't push anything like these two did. It's a very great story. You still have like the really great characters. And just, yeah. I think the only thing that kind of pulls it down from Master is they definitely kind of played it a little more safe. The twists in it are still great. With like Darth Vader being the one to actually like kill the Emperor and somewhat ignoring that comment. Moving on. Move along. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, it just didn't really kind of push boundaries, I would say. And then there's the Ewoks. I have mixed feelings on Ewoks. I both kind of like that, the teddy bears are attacking. But it's also teddy bears that are attacking. Yeah, so that kind of sometimes, kind of a little bit was just a little too humorous. Especially if you're following up with what we saw in here, which these are definitely more the operatic type of stories. This one drops the opera down an octave. Still great, but not up there. Okay, now we're going into the prequels. And I have a feeling I'm going to enrage certain people with comes down to the prequels. Because I think most people agree with stuff like this. I have a sweet spot for Phantom Menace. It's not the best one, but there's just so many like really good things in it. The fighting in it, the fighting in these movies, this movie and this movie had like the only like two good saber fights. Sorry, but like this one just wasn't as good. This one brings back or not brings back, but enhances the saber fights. We all know which one I'm talking about. We're talking about Mr. Red Horned Man with the two red blades and the one like giant room that I have no idea what purpose it is for, but it looks awesome. Yeah, so like the lightsaber fights pushed up an octave. The characters kind of dropped a little bit. I like Qui-Gon Jinn a lot as the kind of solidaire, like, kind of like the mentor who's like, I'm definitely what the Jedi, kind of tend to put off, but I also piss them off because I do things the Jedi Council doesn't want. His character gets off like that really well to me. Obi-Wan's character in this is very kind of solid. Not to mention, we don't get a lot of it. I think we get enough of it so that, like, at the end, where he's dueling Maul, there's enough of a payoff. But Obi-Wan just I felt like there needed to be a little more of him. The kid that got to play Anakin, honestly, I thought he was a fine child actor. Not the best, but I thought he was fine. He didn't read out his lines like a lot of, child actors do. He did act out the parts. I can kind of see where, people are like, yeah, well, he's not, he's not like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. But I think he did pretty well with this, too. Padme, problems. Padme's not all that interesting in this movie at all. Which, the person that's supposed to, be like your Leia, who was like, you want to talk about sass queen, please, Leia. But Padme in the beginning is very much like blanded. Very little emotion, kind of pushing through. Yeah. So, I see why people don't like it. I know some people would put it like all the way down here. I still think it's good enough, though. Like, I can watch this movie and still be, like, really entertained. It's nowhere near as, boring as the next movie. This is our first really bad Star Wars movie. And why? Because everything that I think people think of in this movie is actually in this movie. We have the long, drawn-out political stuff. And I don't mean, like, political stuff that we, might... Or, like, hey, this is mirroring real world. No, this is the political stuff that is, like, in universe, and it's really boring. The taxation stuff is, like, why? Just like the first 2/3 of this movie, it's just boring as hell. The only thing that... There's only what I can think of are 2 things in the first 2 parts that is worth watching. That's when Anakin goes back home to find that his mother is missing, and that being kind of like what really starts up his like his thing into the dark side. Trying to fix music. Yeah, what a fun thing to come back home to. By the way, I'm your former like owner sold your mother, so go find the new guy that has her. Oh, hi, I'm like your stepdad. Your mother's been missing for 3 weeks, and we're pretty sure she's dead. You probably shouldn't go looking. He probably should not have gone looking. Oh hey, I found you, Mom. I'm gonna save you, Mom. Oh, all you Sam people are dead. Goes back to his girlfriend. I might have caused a minor genocide. You're still into me though, right? Funny enough, she's... It's really kind of the only kind of interesting part in the first 2 parts of this movie. Everything else is like boring or like The only other part that I really love about this one is the sonic mime. Just that sound. Just the sound of those like explosives like going off was like, Holy crap. It's good enough to be like a positive. Afterwards, the movie gets kind of interesting. Obi-Wan's trapped on a planet full of bugs. We meet our new Sith Lord, Count Dooku. He traps all of our heroes and about to feed them to weird animals. We finally see Padme be interesting and actually kick some ass. We get to see the clones show up, like the Clone Wars was mentioned here, and now we get to see the payoff here. We get to see the clones. And that's kind of kind of badass. And oh yeah, a bunch of fun lightsaber fights as well. We have way more lightsabers fighting this time, and half of them die. I think the number was like 270 Jedi Masters went to go save Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan. I think like 70 made it out. So yeah. Murder! The final duel between Count Dooku and Obi-Wan and Anakin are really like, I would almost say kind of like heart-pounding, because Count Dooku is serving them. Like, Sonny, why? Yeah, Treetop, this is the reason why we can't have nice things. Sonny's, this planet really bugged them. Anyways, and then we got to see our favorite Green Muppet Man, not Kermit the Frog, go all Kermit the Frog. Yoda's fight with Count Dooku, I still count as like one of my favorite duels in Star Wars. Just, yeah, he's just jumping around like a freaking frog, just putting this man who just almost iced our two heroes, like someone's now missing an arm, the other one is like holding onto his side, trying not to die. Just him just taking Dooku on solo, and now Dooku is worried. That was fun to watch. But yeah, other than that, the movie's bad. It's basically, the majority of it is skippable. Except for, you know, once they leave Naboo, you can start watching the movie. Put it that way, once they leave Naboo. Treetop, we just yelled at Sonny for that. Taking him on Solo? Han Solo? No. Now, I think this placement might... I know some hardcore Star Wars fans are gonna disagree with me. I really loved this movie. Just holy crap. Most of the flaws of these two movies are kind of stricken away. The only political stuff in it is very easy to understand, move through stuff. All we have to understand is the bad guys are losing. The person that's in charge might be evil and might be trying to hold on to more power than he really should. And yeah, that's kind of it for like the political side of things. Story-wise side of things, we see a good man who started out, you know, kind of falling here, completely fall. Something I probably should have mentioned in this too is the love story between Anakin and Padme sucked. But in this movie, you really kind of buy Anakin is willing to do anything to save her. He is willing to throw it all away to protect his woman. Unfortunately, that means once again committing genocide. This is also the movie where Obi-Wan is at his top game too, and get introduced to a villain in this movie that really probably should have gotten more screen time, but in other stuff, becomes one of, I think, everyone's favorite villain. General Grievous, Mr. Cough Cough Hack Hack. Yeah. The sword fight, the lightsaber fight, between him and Obi-Wan is really kind of fun because it starts out with, Obi-Wan kind of serving him and kicking his butt with the blades. And then it goes into where they all lose their traditional weapons and are just kind of scrambling to pick up what they've got. Including, our Mr. Blasters are so uncivilized, killing the villain with a blaster. Which, yeah, that's fun. We definitely get the most lightsaber fights out of this one. The fight with Windu, Mace Windu, and Palpatine is also one of those very intense fights, because you see Palpatine just lay out 3 Jedi like it's nothing. So you think Windu might be coming next. But nope. Who's gonna take out Windu? The man, the myth, the legend, Anakin Skywalker, Mr. Killzilla. Anakin's fall in this as well. I think some people are like, yeah, well, it's not believable. I think if you love someone enough, you'll do some of the most diabolical things for them. I'm not saying it's healthy. It's clearly not. But some people will do the most terrible things to just try to save the ones they love. So if that meant that he had to destroy the Jedi, Anakin would destroy the Jedi. It's definitely more explained once we hit the TV series exactly why he, would really do this. But just in kind of general context, the one you love is about to die. You just had the last person you really loved besides Obi-Wan just die in your hands. Well, you could have done something, but you kind of didn't. Didn't want to make the same mistake again. So that led to the man, the myth, the legend deciding to put a laser sword through a lot of little kids. And when I mean a lot of little kids, I mean a lot of little kids. Boy went dark really hard. Boy. This movie also has my favorite. Out of all the Star Wars movies, my favorite lightsaber fight. The battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan, I hands down say is my favorite lightsaber fight. Really helps after you saw the TV show Clone Wars 2, but even without it, even within these two here, and even within this movie, you kind of buy the kind of brotherhood that these two have for each other. Like Obi-Wan basically raised Anakin. And the heartbreak that Obi-Wan you see him go through, the heartbreak of seeing the person you loved the most become what you hate the most. That's just a feeling that I just don't think anyone would ever want to go through. Yeah, no, I don't even think Technoblade has never gone this dark. He may slay orphans, but not younglings. I mean, come on, difference. Yeah. Just the heartbreak that Obi-Wan goes through throughout this entire movie. And then realizing, oh shit, Anakin is doing this for the one he loves because she is pregnant, and it's like, oh no. Oh god. And what the ending is, this is the first one that becomes another opera. The tragedy, just everything comes back in this movie. The first Star Wars was said to be, this is going to be a space opera. This is the first one to bring back the very opera themes to it. The tragedy, the just going way out there with the emotions. Everything just, oh god. It just hits you on just another level. I'm also probably the only one in the world that when Anakin became Vader and found out his wife died, I was the only one that's like, you know what, that no he's screaming out? I kind of feel the pain there. I didn't laugh. Like, I know, like, some people were like, oh, that scene's so goofy. I'm like, Christ, he just lost everyone. And I kind of feel it in the no. Just like, ooh. Yeah, orphans are young, but there's a difference. Okay, now we're going into the sequel saga. I kind of put the sequel saga out by, when the movies came out. Because that's kind of how I just want about them. The first one I actually thought was really good. I can't say it's great, but I really liked the first one. I thought Kylo was a very interesting character. I liked Rey. And yeah, I mean, I liked Finn. Finn, I think, is like my favorite character in this. And this is a storyline that I've wanted for a while, where the Stormtrooper is now like having to break out and be like a good guy. And this is like, look, I'm moving on from the orphan slaying. Just moving on from the orphan slaying. Can we move on from the dead children, please? Chat! Away from the dead children. I just don't want to touch that subject anymore. Why, it might become way too dark. You don't want to see me dark. Oh, go Sith. You don't want to see me go Sith. Done with Kylo. Yeah, I know why people don't like Kylo. I'll get to that. But, back to Finn. Finn, I think, is one of my favorite characters in this sequel. And boy, did they do him dirty, but I'm talking about the first movie. I found his character interesting. I found his kind of, breaking point to be very reasonable and rational. He's watching an entire village of, armless civilians just get mowed down by people who, are supposed to be his comrades. Move on from the order. Let me move on. And Ben actually kind of goes through a lot of emotions in this movie too. He gets, the traitor line thrown at him a lot. I don't think it fully affects him. But, I kind of feel like he definitely goes through a lot in this movie that I think he shouldn't be there, but more there. Ray is a fine character in this movie. This is the movie where, when a lot of people were oh, Ray's a Mary Sue, Ray's just a bad character, I was in the boat of saying, not really, Ray's just kind of a bland character. I felt like they just didn't know what to do with, Ray's character. She's the one that kind of helped Finn stop being a coward, but once he stopped being a coward, she kind of turned into a coward. The one scene that really is kind of Mary Sue-ish, I really felt like they were playing it up as a joke. And this is something that this movie does not so well, are their jokes. Yeah, I know, I've just triggered Sunny. I don't hate Ray in the first movie. Oh no! Sunny is triggered. The scene where she Jedi mind tricks the guy, it feels more like a joke than anything else. That's how I kind of felt with it in the movie theaters. That's how I kind of felt with it in afterwards. And the other one, the lightsaber fight, okay, that one's fair game. I've got no excuse for that one. Yeah, someone's a salty potato in chat. Definitely. Someone's a bit of a French fry. In both those terms. Oh, anyways. Yeah, that's kind of... Oh, yeah, and the one scene that I think everyone... Kylo Ren really, I thought, had the chance to be a good villain. And I know this is how so many people just hated Kylo Ren. And that was because he killed Han fucking Solo. Even Beetlejuice hated frickin' Kylo for killing Han frickin' Solo. One of the rules, you don't kill Han frickin' Solo! But I actually don't mind it because Han wanted to die anyways! I'm sorry, I know I'm gonna get so much hate for this, but Han wanted to die. The actor Harrison Ford wanted Han Solo to die in this movie. It's why he came back. He didn't want anyone else to play the role of Han Solo, so this was his way to do it. Killing him in this movie. And honestly, I felt like it was one of those moments where Kylo really was on the teetering edge of either being able to go back to the light or falling into darkness. And I really didn't think he planned to kill his father. Or, he was trying to, talk himself into it. Gotta do it, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. If you want to be more powerful, you gotta kill your dad. And then he saw him and is like, fuck, I don't know if I can kill my dad. And then just one push of a button And there goes Han Solo. Yeah. So yeah, I think the movie was good. I thought, okay, good setup. Really good setup. We have a really good starting point in where we can go from this into a maybe great sequel. But I'm not talking about that one yet. I really liked Rogue. And people who know me know that I sometimes like a very dark story where everyone dies. And this is the story where I like it. Because the heroes win in the end. Even though the sacrifice was so great. And the characters just weren't as interesting enough for me to really cry. I think if they did the characters better, it might be like in Master. Because this is the first time since this movie that we get the very much operatic type stuff going back in here. The great tragedy, the great emotions. Just everything is back in business in this movie. The only thing that really kind of fails are the characters. And it's not like I hated it. It's not like I hated these characters. So Kylo Ren was Draco Malfoy? No, no. Draco Malfoy, like, are anywhere near them. I don't know where. Ever. The characters in this movie, I think, should have been a little more interesting, had a little more kind of emotion to them. They just didn't push it enough, I feel like. But it's enough so that when they do die, I'm legit kind of heartbroken. And it does just come out of nowhere. The themes of sacrifice were kind of in it very subtly, but it doesn't really hit you until you start seeing so many characters just dying. Just these like characters they introduced really fast enough so that you're kind of like, oh hey, that guy. And then you're like, oh shit, that guy died. I don't want that guy to die. That guy was kind of nice. And just the ending in this movie was just really how I think if you're gonna do a tragedy where like everyone dies, this is kind of how you do it. The good guys still win, but at the cost where everyone is basically mostly dead. And then the last minute with Darth Vader, Jesus! Oh my god. You want to talk about one of those scenes that really just makes a movie? Darth Vader in the last moments of this movie. Here you are. It's, you know, the ship is getting boarded. The lights are going out. They're trying to get the door open and then lights out. Red lights above them. At the end, pure darkness. And then you hear the shallow hunting breeze. And then the red lights illuminating Darth, who makes his way through these rebel soldiers like a meat grinder. There's no resistance here. This is Darth Vader basically being like, I'm spreading butter. He is slicing through people like Jason on Friday the 13th with a bunch of teenagers. No one survives being near him. Literally everyone in that room is dead within 10 seconds. And the only reason why that, the battle information was like, because everyone died just handing it off to the next person. Just, here you go. Here you go. Just, oh my god. Which really kind of like went from that to that. The last minute. If there's a scene that can like save a movie, yeah, that's. Plus his like joke with the general in the movie. Be sure not to choke on your aspiration, General. Really felt like, oh, I love this. I love sassy Vader. And you're welcome for the visuals. Okay. Now here we go. You want to know how you kill a franchise? This is how you kill it. You want to know how you make everyone hate? This is how you make everyone. This one movie alone destroyed everyone's interest in Star Wars. I know so many people, after seeing this movie, did not want to see any more Star Wars. Really did not want to see any more Star Wars. Like when Mandalorian came out, I'm like, no, guys, listen, it's actually good. It's actually good. Trust me. Where do I start? I think where I really want to start is Luke Skywalker. Because poor man. In both the movie and outside of the movie, you can see him trying to be like, stop. Don't do this. This is not how Star Wars is. If you ever watch his interviews, person that plays Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, if you see his interviews about when he's talking about this movie, it's almost like he is telling us, warning us, guys, this movie is bad. Rian Johnson destroyed everything. I'm so sorry. Just the depression that this man just had on his face throughout, just seeing everyone getting hyped up and happy, and you just see him being like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Luke Skywalker in this movie was just done dirty. The idea that Luke decided that he was going to kill his nephew because he saw the dark side in him, absolutely stupid. The idea of Luke never trying to bring his nephew back from the dark side, he did it with Vader. Vader was way more gone than Kylo Ren. So stupid. Him just disconnecting from the Force? Stupid. His death angered me. When he died, I'm like, you killed Luke that way? That's how you do it? Like, there was so, like, oh my god. I'll get to the ending. I'll get to the ending. Oh. Okay, we'll see you in a bit. Pre-top. Rey. I was really kind of one of the people that was like, she's not really a Mary Sue. I was kind of defending her. This movie proves she's a Mary. Her character, nothing gets done with it. I would even say her character regresses in this. She really doesn't have any character in this movie. Finn has more character in this movie. And Finn is hardly in this movie. They cut Finn, and I know why they cut a lot of Finn. And it's for political reasons why they cut, like real life political reasons. Because, if you really want to get into it, just look up what basically passes for Chinese box office. And see why Finn really got the shit. The Chinese are, it's a lot to do with that. This movie was very much censored to be able to go over into China. That's all I will get into. But Finn was done so dirty in this movie. Finn was like my favorite character in these movies. And he hardly really gets a lot to say. It's replaced by this other character who's really just in this movie because no one wanted anything to do with them afterwards. And she wasn't in the other movie. And she's really just kind of there to be like, rich people bad, animal cruelty bad. We need to not die for our, cause. We need to live for our cause. Which points for the here and there. This movie shows why sometimes people die for their cause. And how, that sacrifice made it so that these people are able to be there today. It's tough. It's hard. It's the worst feeling ever. You should live for your... oh my god. Poe in this movie at least gets more character. It was in a bit for this movie here. Poe being like the friend of Finn. But he gets more character in here. And they do him dirty here too. Just... oh my god. Every character is done dirty. Kylo is basically told, oh hey, you know that cool mask you had? Destroy it. Because it makes you look silly. Why did they do it? Because Rian Johnson thought it looked silly. A lot of the problems in this is because of the director, Rian Johnson. Everyone's able to really just kind of point their fingers at that. Rian Johnson and the person above him, Kathleen Kennedy, really just fucked this movie over. Rian Johnson basically said, oh, I like my twists, and Star Wars is actually very famous for having a lot of twists in it. He does no good twists in this movie. There's not a good twist. There's a twist, but none of them are good. We get a setup here of, Rey wanted to know who her parents are. Well, we find out in this one, her parents are no one. Why are we interested in that? Why would you want to go and see the next movie with that? Her parents are no one. Everyone was thinking, oh, maybe she's a Skywalker. Oh, maybe she's an Obi-Wan. Oh, maybe she's a Palpatine. I was actually in the camp for the Palpatine route. I thought that would be kind of interesting. Her parents are no one. Oh, goody. Thanks for that. That's stupid. This movie also probably... unfortunately, the actress that plays Leia died within the filming, I think, of this movie. And there's a scene where they probably could have killed her off, and it would have been actually very meaningful. And kind of like a good way for her to go out. Like, her son basically, killing, the son has now killed both parents. That would have really wrecked them. That would have been a really kind of good, plot in there. And they kind of don't do it. She's just kind of in a coma, and then we see her like a couple of times more, and that's it. The person that takes over, I think everyone has said it. It's this, the purple hair feminist character, who's basically a bitch to Poe for no goddamn reason. And everyone hates her. I don't know anyone that likes this character. She only does one smart thing, and that's smashing the starship they're in into like this giant starship, blowing stuff up. It's also the only really kind of cool, holy crap moment. Like, I remember seeing it where I'm thinking, oh, she's gonna ram into the ship, a couple things are gonna blow up. No, she light speeds, rams into it, and everything just goes like silent, and you just see these like white cracks go through all of these ships, and it's quiet. It's like for 1 second someone knew what they were doing. After that, yeah. The end of this one as well, just bombs. Utterly just completely bombs. Killing Luke off by being, oh, he used the Force too much. Bitch, please! That's how we're killing Luke off? Oh, he used the Force too much. No. Screw you. This really was the movie that made me pissed off at just Star Wars in general. Solo didn't help. I hated Solo. And I hate Solo for multiple reasons. One of the big reasons is, remember how I was talking about this movie? Harrison Ford didn't want anyone else to play Han Solo. So I guess they just decided to not listen to him. I mean, they didn't listen to Mark Hamill. Why listen to Harrison Ford? Am I right? So they get someone else to play Han Solo in a movie no one really wanted to see, and in a movie that really just sucked. I would honestly just say, haven't seen it? You're saving yourself. There's nothing good in it. They've tried making Lando pansexual as a ploy for this movie, and what he really was just robosexual. Yeah, Lando in this movie has a robotic partner. It's weird. It's basically like dating a blow-up doll. Only this one is a droid activist. She's a droid, and she's like, it's a she. And it's an annoying character. It's worse than Jar Jar. Like, Jar Jar here, like, Jar Jar in this movie was annoying really only when they're on, like, one planet. Besides that, Jar Jar just didn't get under my skin, and I kind of laughed at it. In this movie, the robot here really annoyed me. I'm like, okay, we get it. Screw the living people, droids, blah, blah, blah. It so just misses the mark. Just everything in this movie is just no. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on. Just forget this even exists. It's not as bad, but it's still bad. Why is it not as bad? This movie just did not enrage me enough. It did the one thing that I kind of wanted, which it made Rey a Palpatine. But they should have done that in this one. In this movie, that would have meant something. In this movie, it kind of means something, but not really. This movie also really just... Finn isn't even a character anymore in this movie. I just loved Finn so much in this movie. And see him just become taken away from it more and more just really pissed me off. Yeah. Just everything in this movie, just bad. And I don't fully blame it on the person who did the movie. It was very much muddling from Kathleen Kennedy again, and the fact that there was nothing to work with. After this, there was nothing to work. Actually, I'm gonna put it in here. 2 hours of Jar Jar would have been more fun. I'm moving Solo to no. Just, there was nothing to do with this movie. It was all ruined here. There was no way to go any farther up than just bad. Normal, just bad was as good as they were going to get with this. Palpatine is back and it's stupid. Rey becomes even more of a Mary Sue. Kylo gets turned good, apparently. Finn and Poe just get to show up here and there and not be characters. They finally kill Leia, and like, once again, just... I hated the way they killed Leia. The only thing in this movie that, like, honestly made me feel something was when Chewbacca found out that Leia was dead. I legit felt sorry for Chewbacca in this movie. I know I haven't been talking a lot about Chewbacca because he's not really my favorite Star Wars character, and I don't feel like there's a lot to say when it comes down to Chewbacca. But God, his breakdown in this, I'm like, oh, Chewie. Like, he just has lost every one of his close friends in a row. Like, he lost Han Solo in the first movie. And that hurt. That's like one of his longest, like, living friends right there. Then he loses Luke. And now he loses Leia. And his breakdown just... I honestly felt so sorry for Chewbacca in this. Yeah, I didn't buy Kylo being good either. His turnabout really just... It just wasn't a payoff. Yeah. Yeah, this... If you wanted to kill interest in anything, this is the movie to do it. This movie just was never going to be able to help. Never. Moving on. Probably, I don't think a lot of people know this. The Ewoks were a really big hit, apparently. And they made 2 movies about the Ewoks. And a TV show, but oh crap, I don't think I added it to the list. Damn it. I'll talk about the Ewoks at some. Oh, and I'm missing another TV show too. I'll talk about them though. Yeah, they made 2 movies. And boy, do they go back to the kind of operatic feel to it. Starting out with the first Ewok movie. It was actually kind of okay. Quick plot, because probably no one knows what this movie was about. I'm pretty sure it's one of those like made by for TV or like automatically going to like VHS. Um, this ship lands on Endor, and these two kids get separated from their parents, and they get taken in by Ewoks. And then there's this evil creature that kind of is holding their parents hostage. So the boy here goes out to like save his parents with the other Ewoks. And it's actually a little interesting. You start out meeting him just like holding this like rifle to the Ewoks, being like, "Don't you touch my sister," because his sister is fucking dying from some sort of like illness. Luckily, the Ewoks are able to help her. And luckily, apparently, the Ewoks are nice enough to help the kid out with like saving his parents. And Ewoks die in this movie. This isn't just like a normal like, oh, haha, it's Ewoks. No, we go back to here where we saw like Ewoks like dying. We have dead Ewoks in this movie. They killed off Ewoks. It legit surprised me that they killed off Ewoks in the Ewoks movie. I thought that this was just going to be a fun little romp. Oh, hey, look at Ewoks. Oh, aren't Ewoks cute? Oh, crap. They're dead. I think there's only one that actually died, but maybe one or two. But it's a surprisingly dark movie. And the actor, the boy actor was kind of alright. The girl actor I hated. I couldn't stand her. One of those, just those characters that is just... I just hated her. She was just, I think it was just too young. I think she treated the Ewoks more like teddy bears than anything else. Or like pets. That's kind of her attitude throughout all of it. But luckily we don't see her that much. Yeah, surprisingly interesting movie. It's not great, but kind of interesting. Then we get the second Ewok movie. This was not what I was expecting from a bad Ewok movie, but it's still a bad Ewok movie. So basically in this movie, they end it with, the kid gets his parents back and the four of them are going to be able to live happily ever after. They all fucking die here. Yeah. Everyone's dead. The Ewoks get rampaged and like a lot of them get killed off or carted away. The boy here, the main character here, dead. His parents, dead. We are saddled with the annoying child character that I didn't even like. And it's one of the reasons why I didn't like this movie. It's like, what the hell are you guys doing here? And they just don't even kill them off in like, in the background. You see like the characters like one last time. And this like young girl has like a bracelet on her wrist that kind of shows the vital signs of like her family members. And you just see like them, just like the lights just go dark. And I am like sitting there not even paying attention. And I hear the line, "Oh, my family is dead." And I'm like, what the fuck? I had to rewind the entire movie, like 10 minutes of the movie, just to be like, oh shit, they actually killed them. And I know I'm sounding excited about it, but it's more like it's unbelievable. They killed them. Why? The only other thing I can say about this movie, main villain is not interesting. The girl character, not really interesting. The movie's just not really interesting. Besides, if you want the dark ending for this movie, that starts out here. Um, yeah, it's very Shakespeare. Yeah, they're dead. He's dead. She's dead. Um, just dead. So I'm actually going to talk before getting to this next one because I want to hold off from talking about this next one because oh god. So there's two TV shows that I guess I just forgot to put on this list, or I thought I did, and it's just not on here. There's a Droids TV show that they did, and it's very much, you can tell it's done in like the 70s. It sucked. It's like one of the worst TV shows I had to sit through. I couldn't even sit through all of it. I sat through 5 episodes and I'm like, I'm done. Next. The next one I watched was the Ewoks. The Ewoks TV show I probably would put right next to the movie. It was like Gummy Bears, only Gummy Bears was fantasy and the Ewoks is sci-fi fantasy. It's also kind of done in the same way. Definitely kind of feels like late 80s, maybe early 90s type TV show. In the same kind of line of Gummy Bears, DuckTales, stuff like that. Animation's very similar too. If you like that type of stuff, I suggest it. Stop it. No singing that song. We're talking Star Wars. That's it. So yeah, Droids would be 2 hours of Jar Jar would have been more fun. And Ewoks would have been under Younglings. Star Wars. Hey, you know what? Has anyone seen Visions yet? I saw Visions, and I thought it was pretty good. Hodgepodge of basically going to a bunch of anime people and being like, hey, could you do Star Wars, but not make it all too canon? And these anime people being like, dude, yeah, of course we can. It is 100% Star Wars but anime. There's a lot of really great stories in it. I think my favorite is the first one. It's a very kind of mystery, wandering, like wandering warrior type story. Very kind of classic Japanese type story of, you know, the lone samurai going from town to town. It's really just fun to watch. The story is very simple, but it's still a very good story. The next one is basically starts off, it's 200 years in the future, and the art of the lightsaber is now lost to time. Except this one Jedi found a way how to make lightsabers again. And so all these like Jedi are gathering in a temple to finally receive a lightsaber. But there's a bit of a problem. Someone sent assassins after the person making the lightsabers. And you follow this, you follow the daughter of the person that made the lightsabers. And I think they did like a really good, you know, finding your power type story with her. And they kind of do something interesting in the lightsaber. This is not canon at all, but how they did the lightsabers in this was when you hold the lightsaber, the crystal resonates with the force within you, and the color changes. In normal Star Wars, that's not really how it works. In normal Star Wars, it works kind of the same. The force within you does affect the color of the kyber crystal, but that's your own personal kyber crystal. That's the crystal like inside the lightsaber. That's the one that affects you, and that's never going to change now, unless you turn Sith and you make it bleed and turn red. In this little short story, the color comes the more you have a connection to the Force. And in the beginning, the daughter strikes up the lightsaber, and there's not much of a color to it. And you see as the special goes on, more and more color is added to the lightsaber. I thought, wow, that's really cool. And it also is a really cool, spoilers for this one story. It's also a cool reveal that once she got the lightsabers up to the Jedi that were waiting there, almost all of them were actually Sith. Meaning, like, the master that discovered how to do the lightsabers again, who was hidden, I'm not going to say how he was hidden, it's kind of like the reveal. And one other, like, kid who was there, who's, like, probably a Padawan, it was like all gung-ho, like, dude, I got a lightsaber? This is everything I wanted. Strikes up his lightsaber, it's blue. He's like, oh, wow. Everyone else strikes up their lightsabers, it's all red. And he's like, oh, shit! Really great story. The other one that I could really kind of talk about is one that kind of feels like this really wouldn't happen in Star Wars. But the person that did, like, oh god, it's not Mega Man, but like Astro Boy, I think it was. The people that did that got their hands on, like, the, like, ability to do this one episode, and they went, let's make Astro Boy a Jedi. And that's the story. And it's kind of fun. And kind of dark. But yeah, I like this one. The last episode, I don't like at all. You could skip the last episode. But all the other episodes, really fun. It's a nice anthology story. Hey, do you like Samurai Jack? I kind of like Samurai Jack. But this movie was just kind of okay. This is the first time we do Clone Wars before getting into Clone Wars. This was kind of like a pilot movie from the person who did Samurai Jack, wanting to do a Star Wars Clone Wars show, but it just didn't get off the ground. But if you like just his style of animation and action, which is really good, if you've never seen, Samurai Jack action, it's really good. I mainly watched that show just to see Samurai Jack just kick butt. And that's what you get with this here too. You get your, like, dark introduction to Grievous in this movie too. Grievous is terrifying in this movie. Holy crap. Just took out, like, so many Jedi, and it's like, holy crap. And it also gives a little bit of a reason on why, like, Grievous has, like, it's good, but it doesn't really hit where these really go. It's 100% passable too, because it's also technically not canon at all. Because Ventress also dies in this movie. And if you know who Ventress is, you definitely know this movie's not canon. But Ventress, gets her first viewing here too. Yeah, it's okay. I say if you're gonna watch it mainly because you want to see Samurai Jack salvage. Really the only reason. I can't hold off any longer. Let me tell you a little story about a holiday special that was so bad, it made me cry. Star Wars, the holiday special. Where do I begin? It's so boring. It's literally, I think it was 2 hours, where like a lot of it was just Wookiees. Yeah, just Wookiees. It's a Wookiee holiday special. I think I have to talk about the most scarring stuff first. So Chewbacca has a family, a wife, a son, and a grandfather living at home. At some point, this guy drops by to give them presents. And I'm starting with this one first because it's just the first one that pops into my mind. This man gives Chewbacca's grandfather frickin' porn. This is the only time I will ever talk about this subject. But it basically is just Wookiee porn. You don't see anything, but it's enough to get the gist that this guy is, like, watching stuff. And it's like, why are you putting this in a holiday special? Why? There's a scene where Chewbacca's wife is making food in the kitchen, which, by the way, they all talk like Chewbacca. And we're with them for almost 2 hours. And it's all just the of Chewbacca's. No subtitles, no nothing. We don't know what they're saying. It's just that. It's annoying. It's grating. So Chewbacca's wife is listening to someone doing a cook show because she's trying to do a recipe. Why am I watching this in a Star Wars holiday special? Why? And it's so boring. It is the most boring thing I've ever seen in Star Wars. And then we watch Chewbacca's kid for 15 minutes watch a tutorial on how to put a toy together that's not even a real toy. What is going on here? Price, I give me a second. I need water. I need vodka. There's little interludes in this too, where we go to different places and see different things. Ziggy Stardust is in this movie. What does it have to do with Star Wars? Absolutely nothing. But apparently Ziggy Stardust is in the movie. I didn't even know who Ziggy Stardust was until I watched this movie. I'm like, why the fuck are these people in my Star Wars movie? And apparently George Lucas just liked them and he put them in the movie. What the fuck? Hydrate. Yeah, I need to hydrate. This movie made me go insane. This really was the movie just out of all Star Wars, not even all Star Wars, out of all movies, was one of the movies that just broke me inside. Like, what are you doing? What is this? You want to know what's the holiday about it? It's a thing called Life Day. And apparently it's a holiday. How much do we talk about Life Day? Absolutely nothing about it. What do we know about Life Day? Nothing. It's a holiday special. We don't even know what the holiday is. Ziggy Stardust was David Bowie. Okay, I kind of understand now why. But it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't. You want good David Bowie, just watch Labyrinth. That's good David Bowie right there. Yeah, just this movie made me go insane. I hated everything in it. I hated everything about it. Just it broke me as a movie. Moving on. Before I go any more insane. So, Clone Wars, the TV show, didn't really start off all that well. This was the pilot movie, and I thought this one did better. When they started the show off, I was like, oh, it's about this? I don't want to see that. Ahsoka was kind of a bratty kid that I wasn't interested in. I didn't care for the story of Jabba the Hutt's child, which apparently the Hutts are like asexual, as in the like term of not like they're ace, but they're asexual in reproduction. Where apparently Jabba the Hutt impregnated himself and had a child. It's the weirdest thing ever. But apparently it's also canon. This is also the first time we meet Rex. I liked Rex. Didn't really have too much of a story there, but we got to meet him. It just really just not a good. This is not a good way to lead into the show. And oh, the show. You want to talk about something that could go up against Avatar and give it a run for it? Ooh. Where do I start? The beginning, like the first 2 seasons, the character Ahsoka, I thought was also still a bit annoying and kind of a brat, but really got better as the seasons went on. The first season, she was a lot better than where she was in the movie. So I'm like, okay, kind of like Ahsoka. Then the second season goes in, and I'm like, yeah, Ahsoka's kind of a cool character. If we go all the way down to the final season, Ahsoka is in my top 5 favorite Star Wars characters of all time. And all my favorite Star Wars characters are in this show, basically. In there, but everyone else is in here. It's a show that definitely does not hold back as well. The people die in this show. This is the first time this is like since this. Then we go back to the opera, like the operatic type of stories, but now it's in show format. And now we have characters that we're able to build up with, and watching them die. And one of the my favorite arcs really is what I just kind of call the Fives arc. Or the Domino Squadron arc is also what it's called. But I call it the Fives arc because of where we're starting and how it basically kind of ends. Could also call it the Echo arc, but I'm not calling it the Echo. We meet these clones in an outpost, and we get a little introduction to them, where we see most of them die. One of them in kind of a heartbreaking way that really harkens back to here, sacrificing yourself for the greater good. Even though his character type is one of those, he's the brash, heavy, I'm looking out for myself type character, but he does the big sacrifice, which really I didn't expect at first. But it wasn't until we saw these characters again that you really kind of get it. And that's when we see these characters before they're out at the outpost and all die. We meet all of these characters for a couple of episodes. We get to know them. We get to know their names, the origins of their names. And the next episode, we come back, and it's like, oh shit, wait a second. These are the guys we just watched die. Whoa, fuck. There's another character also introduced in the last episodes there called 99. And 99 is basically kind of the Quasimodo of Star Wars. He didn't come out right. He's hunchbacked. There's no way he can fight. So he's kind of in general maintenance in the cloning facility, watching all of his other brothers get to live out what they were kind of born. And it's really kind of sad. It's really heartwarming and touching when we get to see 99 interact with his brother. And by God, I was so close to crying when he fucking died. When 99 died in this show, it was like, you killed him off? He's the lovable underdog that we all love and care for. He's the Big Brother clone that you feel sorry for because, he's not able to go out and do what everyone else is able to do. And God, how they kill him off is how you would kill this character off. The cloning facility is under attack. This is the first time 99 is able to really contribute to the war. And you just kind of see that in his eye. You kind of see it in his character. He's almost kind of happy. Not that they're being attacked, but he's happy he's able to do something now. Happy he's able to help his brothers out. And the last thing that he says is along the lines of I'm a warrior. This is what I'm bred for. And he gets shot down and is like, oh God. So close to getting me to cry. So close. Then we kind of see these characters pop up here and there. Fives and Echo. They're the last ones of these clone troopers. And they tag along with Rex. Rex is kind of... If we're going to talk main characters that aren't movie characters, you have Ahsoka, Rex, Five, and kind of Echo. Echo, not that much. But Ahsoka, Rex, and Fives. They're the TV characters that don't show up in the movies that are kind of the mainish focus. And Rex is one of those characters that he is not only really smart, he's very brilliant, he's a great fighter, but his, I think, defining character trait is he gets very attached to certain people. He gets very attached to Anakin, to Ahsoka, to Rex, to Fives, and to Cody. Those are the people he's the most closest to. And at the end of it, there's only going to be one of them really going to be able... One character that he's going to be with after the wars. So, yeah. Oh God, I'm sorry. I just lost my chain of thought. That's right. Fives. Fives now, if I'm talking the Umbara arc, which is the best arc of the TV show. Before the new arc, where we have Order 66, but I'll get to that. It's my favorite arc of the show, it's very kind of it's very, I want to say, Vietnam like. It's one of those battles where you just see so many people, just like so many clones just die. It's a miserable environment that they're in as well. They're getting their butts kicked. And we see some characters that we actually got to know die in this arc. And then after that arc, we go to the prison arc, which was when Echo dies. And then we're at the last arc with Fives. And that's when Fives actually figures out, by the way, Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith. The entire Clone Wars is a lie. I need to tell someone. Oh shit, I'm dead now. I almost cried when Fives died. Almost. Saddest death ever in Star Wars. Mostly because it was just, we're so close to being able to change. It's like one of those times where you're like, oh, come on, please. You know, we really love these characters. We don't want to see them die. And like, he has to die now. He knows. This show also really puts on why Anakin went Sith. Anakin is one of those people, and it really shows in this show, who is, he gets attached to a person, and he will do everything for this person. He kills people because he's like, you are going to threaten one of the people I like? No, you're dead. Yeah, it's... Yeah. So let's move to Ahsoka. Ahsoka has a lot of growing to do in this. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit. The people upstairs keep talking, and it's a bit distracting. Ahsoka has a lot of growth in this. She goes from kind of a bratty teenager to an adult really quick. You very much see like the weight of war kind of come down on Ahsoka to the point where she leaves the Jedi. Like, she's a Padawan, and they were about to make her a knight. But she leaves because of what just the war has done to both the Jedi Order and to her. And you really feel it. And you feel it even more in the last arc of Order 66. Even if you've never seen the show, you just need to watch all of it to see how they end it. Because they just go just full, like, trauma, full dramatic. Yeah, it's a sad ending, but kind of a happy ending, because it's a happy ending in tragedy. Your main character isn't dead. But like everyone else that you kind of knew and loved is now also. Yeah. The sequel to it, I actually thought was really great. Nowhere near as good, but really great. The main character, Ezra Bridger, is one of those characters, once again, in the beginning, I couldn't stand him. But as we went on, really liked him. Really loved him. And it's also kind of harps back into this one where you do see kind of like sacrifices being made. A lot. Everyone's making sacrifices for this cause. This is also kind of the first time where we also see our main character start going towards the dark side and being able to back out from it. the characters we normally always see just go like too much into the dark side, fall to the darkness. Ezra's like the first one where we see him tempted by the darkness. He has definitely a big pull towards the darkness, but he never falls into it. He very much stays in the light. And I really like that. Kind of the main idea of this series is we're about 18 years, 16 years or so after the end of this one, and we're following kind of the beginning of the end of the Empire, how the rebellion just kind of grows from it. And it's really interesting. And if you're wondering why Spiky Head Guy is in this, where he died in this movie, that's because he comes back in this movie. And I hated it at first, but it has kind of a good payoff in here and a better payoff in here. Because we also get Obi-Wan for like one episode, and seeing them go up against each other one last time was epic. Yeah, a lot of people tend to harp on this one. I think it's a great show. I think what people get distracted on is that it's nowhere near as good as this one. But it was never going to be as good as this. It's like Korra. Korra was never going to be Avatar, but Korra was still... Anyways. Now we're getting into the prequel era show, and yeah, it was kind of boring. Honestly, at some points, it kind of felt more like Star Trek than Star Wars. The first season has kind of a Deep Space Nine type of feeling to it. And then the second season kind of has a Voyager feeling to it. That's all I can really say. The characters aren't really all that interesting. You got more Poe in this than you do in the movies. And he's only in the first season. Yeah, I mean, if you want to see it, you can. There's not much to it. BB-8 is also only in the first season. He's gone in the second. I'm putting this here mostly because there's nothing in this show that these shows didn't do better. And Rey is just an even more of a Mary Sue. And they're also just 2-minute shorts. It's just little blobs of, oh, look, girl power. Where we have like all of this to be like, oh, look, girl power. Mandalorian. Mandalorian was one of those shows that I had to go to people. And I had to be like, yo, hey, by the way, Star Wars is good again. We're getting something good here. Very much based on kind of like Western type stories. Lone bounty hunter finds a kid, sells him off, and then realizes I really shouldn't have sold the kid. So he breaks out the kid again and is now trying to like protect him and find where the kid kind of belongs in the galaxy, while also evading the remnants of the Empire. And you can really tell that the person that made this and made this also made this, because there's a lot of characters that come back into this. Mando, which basically is the Mandalorian. Mando is not a fully complex character. He's a kind of a simple character, but he's definitely a character that you can relate to. And have enough feelings where, like, I really like him. I think he's a great person. He's a great character. He has flaws? Yeah. I think the only thing that I would honestly harp on with this one is they have him take his helmet off too much. Which I heard it was because the actor wanted his face to be seen. You know what, guy? Voice actors don't even do that, so you could have dealt with it. But I get it. want your face out there so people will see you and be like, oh yeah, that's the Mandalorian guy. We should put him in our show. I totally get it's a whole marketing thing. Yeah, it was just such a breath of fresh air. A lot of the jokes in it are also kind of funny. And just, you know how I was talking about Darth Vader's scene here? Okay, Luke Skywalker has a scene that basically mirrors it, where Luke comes in and wrecks town. And it's like, this is what we've always wanted to see Luke do, and he does it. It's great. I freaking love it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. So for the last one, the only reason why I'm putting Bad Batch here is because we're just in the first season. And honestly, the first season in this one, I probably would have put here too. Bad Batch follows right after Order 66, where we're seeing Order 66 happen. One of the characters in this show is also in this show, but as a kid, and we see him affected by Order 66. There's so much more I could probably say about this show, but I'm moving on. Mostly because I'm about to hit the 2-hour mark. Bad Batch, I really like all the characters. Really, only 3 of them have good character to them. Besides Echo. Echo, we didn't need much of an introduction to his character because we got it here. Wrecker is the meathead of the group with the heart of gold. Hunter is the badass with the heart of gold. Tech is Sheldon. But nice. More sociable. And then we have this dickbag, who becomes the villain, and I hate him. His fall gets a whole lot worse the more they actually go into it. But, yeah. And then we get... Oh, God, I'm blanking on her name. Omega. Then we go to Omega. Omega is very, very kind of teetering for me. I like her, but she has moments where it's like, okay, you're making her a little too right in certain like places. Let kind of the other characters have their agency to kind of be like, yeah, we're gonna do this because we want to do this. Omega kind of really starts feeling like the child leader. She at least does like enough kind of like stupid stuff that she has to regret. And she's not a great fighter. And she has to work on certain things. So she's not in Mary Sue territory. But it's also like kind of okay. Yeah, and that's kind of all I can say about it right now. I can't wait to see more. I think the more that comes out with this, it'll probably go up. I really hope it doesn't go down. But I think it'll probably either go up or just like stay here. So, yep. This is how I would rank my Star Wars stuff. The best being the first 2 movies, the 3rd movie, and the prequels, the TV show. Those are like the best, I feel. Best of the best. Everything else just kind of falling short. Still really good. No, we're there. You could watch if you want to, but you don't have to. Just skip it. Just skip it. Die in Fire. And these two movies just broke me. So, yep. And if you want to rank your own, if you want to do this on your own, rank it yourself. The link is up here. You can kind of just, copy that one. I'm probably going to start putting them in my YouTube videos. I should have done that with the other ones. I'm going to do it with this one. I'm going to put the link in the description. You could follow me at here. I'm going to start posting like the results of these on Twitter too. Probably to get some people to yell at me because I put this in like God tier. So yeah, that's it. Hope to see you guys later. Remember to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. Goodbye.